You're watching the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know. As usual, we are powered by Hospitality News Magazine and Hospitality News Magazine Online. If you want to have your finger on the pulse of everything hospitality, news, culture, events, look no further than Hospitality News and hospitalitynews.com and Hospitality Magazine Online. As usual, please, if you like what you're seeing, you like what you're watching, hit like and subscribe and share it to all your friends. Today's guest is Indu Kaur from Curry Club at SaGhar, is that right?
SaGhar.
SaGhar in Port Jefferson. Welcome, Indu. How are you?
Thank you, Chris.
All right,
I'm
all
doing
right.
well.
I'm going to have to relax now. Like Dominic said, you're a very beautiful lady, and I'm feeling very nervous right now. You know, we met recently, and I walked out of there, and I said to Dominic, "Now that is a very, very, you're like frightening to me. You're very professional, you're very smart, very knowledgeable, and you give off this wicked air of class. So to me, I'm like a little scared of that. So I'm gonna try and be very, very confident today, Indu. Okay?
Well, I'm very relaxed and I'm not as scary as you think, but
All right.
thank you
all
for
right.
the compliment.
Well, when we met the other day, other than, taking a tour of the restaurant and having and sitting down and eating some incredible food, and we'll get to that, you were so nice, and you offered me an article written about you in the Brookhaven town of Brookhaven magazine. And there was I read that this morning before our interview, and I was so blown away by it. So I wanted to ask you, a little bit about that story and all, and go over that, because from what I read this morning, I could see, as a child, you were born in India and then moved to Afghanistan. Is that correct?
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Born in Afghanistan,
Correct.
but your family and your family lineage was from India.
About 4 generations before.
4 generations. So, and again, that was a time in Afghanistan where it was actually a wonderful, beautiful place to live, and it was crazy how it was when I was reading through there, and you would get to the point when there was a Soviet invasion and when things started to turn kind of sour. I just got done watching Charlie Wilson's War. You saw that movie, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Dominic, you're not going to believe it. I was watching the movie. Dominic, you saw that movie?
No, I did not.
You didn't see that? Oh, it's Tom Hanks, and it's this really great movie about the senator that
Yep.
put together his own war
Yes, he did.
to help the people of Afghanistan, and obviously fight the Soviet Union and communism in the world. And it was an awesome story. So tell me a little bit about time for you. You were a child at that time?
Yes, so I was very, very young. In fact, like I said, 4 generations that our family has been migrated in Kabul, Afghanistan. And yes, you are right. Kabul, Afghanistan was one of the best tourist place in the world.
Yeah.
It was the most beautiful geographical landscape that you could ever see. Yes, Soviet coming in brought in quite a disturbance. So yes, I was born
They
in
took
a
your people for granted, I think, the Soviets. They made a lot of
Calm
mistakes
down.
over the years.
totally. We all
You
agree
noticed
with that.
right, Dominic? They made a lot of mistakes
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah. So I was born in a very small village that you can only imagine. There were a couple, 1,000 people living there.
Wow.
So I was one of them. In the last generation, I would say in my family, last daughter was born and brought up, and I was born in a small little village, Jalalabad.
And your dad was a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yes.
and owned like a pharmacy.
Yes, so it's rooted in him through his great grandfather.
Two generations, three generations of
I was
pharmacists.
3 generations because it was very common for at that time to make medicine through homeopathic, through herbs and whatever was around them, that they
Wow.
grew everything just around the spice, around the plants to heal in any kind of situation. You could get a cut, have a sore throat, headache, they would have all these herbs
Really?
with them at home. So it's just kind of rooted in my father, through his father, like that.
Now, was this is this was a typical way to get medication in Afghanistan at that time, or was that still homeopathic medicine was still like an alternative way? And
there was no Western medicine back
They
in
didn't
the
have
days.
that.
You can just imagine. You're talking about almost couple 100 years ago, 400
Right.
years ago. Well, there was no such thing as, medicines back then. So they had to make their own meds
Wow.
through spices, through herbs, through anything that they were able to find. That's homeopathic. It's been going on till now. It's actually one of the most holistic Ayurvedic homeopathic medicine that they take these alternative medicines to treat themselves
Right on.
in all these back in the days.
Now, was that like professionally trained at universities then, or that was something that you learned through your
Passed
family?
on,
Passed
passed on through family.
Passed
Yes,
on.
yes.
Wow.
Hmm.
So Soviet Union comes to Afghanistan, turmoil goes wild. You guys move back to India as a family. No?
Well, from there was a journey. So you go from a small village to the main city,
To
which is
Kabul.
Kabul.
Right.
That's where most of the, I guess, non-Muslim, which would be us, Sikh families moved in, and
Right.
that was more safe because we had our Sikh temple there. So kind of we made our own little community. So that was the next safest place, and my father did extremely well from going to small little village to the city, and we did very well over there
Well, it seems like
until
your father had a strong business acumen no matter what.
no matter
We
from
could see that here. Now we'll get to that too, right? Yeah.
yes, yes,
Your
yes.
dad understood business and how to, and I guess, making people well and feeding people good food is kind of like almost like the same thing at times, right? I mean, you're
Absolutely.
not curing anybody, but you are making them feel better, right?
Nurturing and nourishing people
Right.
is my father's, and soul, body, mind. He's all about that, and I think it got carried on to me.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been always very loving, caring, kind of a human being.
I met your dad, right,
Mhm.
Dom? I met his dad that day.
That's when we were walking in.
Yes, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so describe now. So again, now, Charlie Wilson and the Americans, they they scare the Soviets away,
Yeah.
and now, excuse me, this is the birth of the Taliban at this point, or this is the first time we hear of,
First time, kind of just
know,
overnight,
right.
everything just turned around, and I would say, when they came in, there was a turmoil. I was a young girl, maybe around 10ish or so.
Right.
And it was just our life changed
Not a lot of respect for women, Muslims.
big time. None, none.
No, not at all. So that at that point, your father and your family knew that this was not going to be a safe place for them.
My father knew because we were three little daughters,
Right.
mother and a wife.
All
So
girls,
and
yeah.
all girls in the house, one man to take care of everybody. He had 4 sisters at the same time as well
Wow.
to take care of all of us. We were 9 of us.
Your
So
dad was a real ladies' man, I guess.
totally.
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, he did his best to take care of all of us, and he still does.
I'm sure he does. I could see
Mhm.
that. So, when you went back to India, was that that was always going to be a temporary situation? He would always wanted to come to America, or?
I believe my father already had back of his mind, where he wanted to get established.
Right.
I believe this was a journey that he was just getting through from one stop to the other. He did apply, and he did get accepted through government to be able to come here right from Kabul. But this was a little mid journey
Okay.
that we had to do like a pit stop.
Now he lived always in New York when you guys came here.
Yes, they landed in here in JFK, right to Rocky Point area.
Rocky
I
Point
think that's,
area.
believe, your area,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. Oh, Setauket I live in.
Setauket,
yeah.
yes. So yeah, that's where he landed. But
And
he,
immediately went into the restaurant business.
well, he didn't know what he could get into. So
Okay.
how it started was my mom's brother already was here, and his name is Chani Singh, and he was the top 10
That's the
chef
guy with the ponytail.
with a ponytail.
Yeah,
You know
that.
him.
I've met him a few
In
times.
Long
Great
Island. He was
guy.
actually picked one of the top 10 chefs.
He was the big chef, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. He was the big chef.
Yeah, he was back in the days. And then I guess the brother-in-law and my father, they both decided, how are we going to do and survive here? And he said, well, I'll cook and you can invest and you're the business mind. And my father and they both got together.
I mean, just to look at that restaurant, it's
Yeah.
a railway car. The
Railway
original
car.
Curry Club was a railway car, right?
Correct. But before that was the Bliss small little kitchen that they actually started their journey there.
Really?
It was just a small little restaurant, and they said it was like maybe like 5 to 6 tables
Where Bliss is now.
where
Is that-
Bliss is now.
Wow.
And I believe they became so famous and so popular that they could not accommodate
They
more
couldn't do it.
people. They couldn't do it until they had to, make an approach and make a bigger decision to get the next door property and the train to have
It's
that.
such a cool property.
There was such a cool
So
property.
cool.
So yeah.
And like, it was like those were fancy restaurants to go to. You didn't just, it wasn't like Indian restaurants weren't a place of like, hamburgers and hot dogs. They were always like real
High-end.
dining, high level dining.
Real authentic taste. That's the quality that I love about my family, that no matter what they did, they always wanted to present the original, authentic. No matter what they did,
Right.
they did in pharmacy. They want to make sure everything was authentic. They wanted to get into real food. It's like we're going to feed them what we eat in our own homes, in our own country. That's where we are going to make the menu authentic. That not customize it, not change it. No, real authentic recipes.
Hey, it's your boy Chef Cholo from the Go Crying to Walk In podcast. And if you're like me, you yearn for that old school relationship between purveyors and chefs. Nowadays, they got me going on a website, looking up my own orders, placing my own orders. I don't even know if the thing's going to get delivered the next day. I got nobody to talk to. If you're looking for that old school service with aggressive pricing, look no further than American Food Connection. What you do is you call the number at the bottom of the screen, you ask for Danny, and you get it straight. You already know. The
And that's how
foods
it's
that
done.
we know, like as Americans, the foods that we know is Indian food, chicken tikka masala, things like that. Those are family dishes in your country, or those are fancy dishes that you would,
So-
or how does that work?
So this particular dish that you talked about, chicken tikka masala, is actually originated in Europe. So this is like a high-end, migrated, dish
It's
from
like
Europe.
some Chinese food in this country wasn't really from China. It kind of like Chinese people came to this country,
So when
kind of figured out how people would want to eat the things that they made, and that's what happened in England and Europe, right?
So
with
when
this
they
food.
the Indians were migrated to Europe and they customized the sauce, and that's
Right.
why Europeans enjoy that. And now that became an authentic
Wow.
recipe from Europe.
Wow.
But it's been served and very popular in all over the world because people think it's Indian, but it's technically European
It's
dish, and
technically
Indians have been
European.
promoting it because it's doing really well and people love that
You
taste.
just go with something when
You-
it's good.
But it's good.
I
Don't
believe
want to
that.
mess it up. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah.
I had a wonderful dish in the restaurant the other day, a vegetable korma,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like it has like a cashew base
Cashew
in there,
base,
kind of thickened with
nuts,
cashew.
Very rich in
Very
texture.
rich. A lot of cream.
It comes right from the origin of Pakistan, Tajikistan. Kormas come from there because there's a lot of dry fruit in that region.
Okay.
And those places are very cold, so these dry fruits are used almost in every kormas, every rice biryanis.
Right.
They also sometimes crush it up and marinate it in sauces to make any kind of protein curry into it. So
Oh, wow.
very, very rich.
So like Indian, like technically, we say when we say Indian food, because you just mentioned something developed in Pakistan, we're talking about South Asia as a whole as a cuisine. It's not specifically these foods that we know as Indian foods. They not just specifically from India, let's say, or they could be from
Different regions.
different
So
regions.
imagine
like Bengali is going to have
Beng-
different kind of food, right?
Exactly. So think of it this way. If India has 32 dialects by itself, imagine 32 dialects. Just the registered, right? We don't even know how many more dialects are there.
Wow.
People speak different kind of languages. Similarly, depending on which part of the state are you going to and what kind of tropical or non-tropical herbs and spices are getting grown in that region. So for example, you pick up Goa, Kerala. Goa, Kerala has very rich in tropical herbs, leaves, curry leaves is so popular. Rasampori is so popular. Those are the kind of plants you won't get on other
So
sides.
when you say curry leaf, because curry has a couple of definitions, right? A curry
Correct.
is the idea of this preparation of the building of flavors, right?
Correct.
And then there's something called a curry leaf, right?
Curry leaf is very shiny, very oily, a lot of flavor. It also has so many different kinds of making it. You can dry it, you can put it fresh in the sauce, you can dry it and put it in many other recipes. Just so much you think you can do. So that's what people are not understanding. It's Indian food is just not spicy. It's just not like curry. It's so
Very developed.
very developed.
Very developed.
Depending, you go to Calcutta, it's different. You go to Goa, there's more of coconut and more of pineapple, more of curry. You go to Mumbai, there's a lot of street food, fusion food.
Right.
You go to New Delhi, you have typical Punjabi, or go to Punjab, there's typical Punjabi sarso saag and what do you call the roti, the chickpeas roti.
Roti.
Yeah.
Very popular street food, right?
And then in Punjab, they have a lot more ghee and lassi made with yogurt drink. So every region is so different.
Do you use social media at all? Because I'm addicted to social media, and now this TikTok trend, which is like, with TikTok, you don't have to go look for anything. I don't know. It gets in your phone and it knows who you are, and it just starts giving you things. So recently, I'm getting all this street food, and again, I can't tell if it's Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, because I can't read the writing that's on here. But the things that guys come up with. So I saw a video recently. Dominic, he's gone. You believe it? Where these gentlemen had this device, was like a metal tube that they were able to take a block of ice. First of all, they had to take a 300-pound block of ice and break it by hand.
Okay.
And then they were stuffing it into this metal structure that was able to roll. And they were putting, like, I don't know if it was flavored creams, and they were starting to freeze on this roller, and it was building up. And then at one point where it built up enough, these gentlemen had a little scraper, and then they would scrape it off, and it became this frozen treat that they were serving in the street to people. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing.
I think in back in the days, if I remember when I was a kid, that's called the sweet syrup rolled with ice, and it's sweet.
It was like ice. It was like a very, basic form of ice cream.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very popular.
Vendors with like a lot of egg dishes. Am I right?
Lots
a lot of
of egg-
sandwiches
lot
and
of
eggs
sandwiches.
and things.
There's chaats, there's papri, there's golgappa. There's so
Right.
many things that India is famous for their street food. I think if you go to New Delhi and Mumbai and Calcutta, that's all you see around the train stations and bus stations is street food all over.
Do you enjoy that part of the culture when you get to go home, or do you
I
get to go back
do.
too much?
You know what? If people die to go back and just dig right into the
eating.
eat, even if they get sick because now they're so purified with their
You're
system,
right.
they
Over
don't
here,
mind.
right.
They don't
You gotta
mind.
be careful,
going there.
right?
Gotta be careful what you eat now. But they're famous. India is famous for their street food for sure. And we are bringing that in our restaurant as well. If you see in our appetizer section, we brought the chaat, we brought the
I see that.
water balls, we got the kebabs. Kebab sizzlers are so famous.
That's big over by you guys. Would you say water bowl? What is that?
Oh, there's the crispy.
See, I got that, right?
You got, remember, I think I showed you the crispy water, chickpeas or the regular flour balls, and we kind of get those and we make a hole, and you can put any kind of filling. You can put chickpeas, black
Right.
chana,
And
potato.
what is the name? There's a name for that. What
We
is
call it pani puri.
pani puri, right?
Pani puri, and
Now-
then someplace in America we call them water balls.
Water bowl, right? Now I see. Now, am I wrong? Am I seeing, like, again? Now, you get to this country, people are here a couple generations. They want to start to do things. They want to be a little different. I've seen pani puris with vodka going in there.
Absolutely, that's what I do at the Meadow Club. So
Yeah,
for appetizers,
yeah.
it's so famous. So we have the spicy water, and they come in many, many flavors.
Right.
So our standard one is the mint and the tamarind chutney one, and we put a shot
That's my
of
favorite.
vodka.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
And then on top, you fill it up with spicy potato,
Little
with
potato,
chickpeas,
right?
And then
Chickpea.
you fill that with a vodka sauce, and you have that. You got a nice shot right
It's really cool. Yeah, I'm seeing that at weddings now. We do a lot
Weddings
of
are-
weddings
yes.
where I'm at Crest Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
And what's wonderful about your your culture is that, first of all, the wedding is a week long.
Technically, a month with.
A month here in this country, we get
In
we
this
get away with
country,
a
1
week.
week.
You know, and there's so much that goes about it. I mean, we at Crust Hollow, we make, we've
Hmm.
built things. We've built areas that are,
Yeah.
in a place where we could play drums for a Mendy and a Barat, and
Hmm.
you know, house enough people to have a reception for 700 people at a chapel, and then go
Yeah.
to a cocktail hour, and then go inside and have a party and maybe be back tomorrow
Be
morning.
back tomorrow, yeah.
You never,
Yeah, we
never,
both
you
are
never
used to
know.
that. They start 4 o'clock in the morning, starting getting ready, all the way
Yeah.
till nighttime. We party. Next day, start again.
Were you married in this country or you married outside of this
So
country?
yeah, I got married very quick, very like in one single day, half a day. It was a very
Oh,
quick thing. So I was kind of given away.
okay. But that's
So
traditional,
that's
right?
very traditional,
Yeah.
arranged marriage. You're given
We see that
away.
all the time. Yeah.
So I came here, and landed, and my uncle and my ex received me at JFK. And within like a month, I was at my grandmother's house. But within that month, we did the preparation, and the one day was a wedding. Morning was wedding, afternoon was reception, and I drove to Delaware for 5 hours, same day.
And you lived like Virginia, Delaware, Evan, before you
Correct,
lived here in New York, right?
correct, correct. Hmm.
I mean, you've had some story. I mean, like so
Yeah.
the building of this restaurant, the hurdles that your family had to cross just to come here, and
Hmm.
there's just this fight that I respect. And again, maybe that's why we kind of connect because, like, as chefs, we're forced to do this all day long. We're
Yeah.
forced to see adversity. If we came into work and somehow the power went off and the lights didn't work, well, I'm here to make your wedding. So
Yeah.
we're here to whatever it takes to get
Whatever
through
it
that
takes.
day.
Hmm.
And I could see that you and your dad and your family live your life like that. You had a horrible tragedy with your mother. I remember
Yeah.
it was in the newspapers, and
Yes.
it never stopped anybody. Although I did read in the article, your dad was like, maybe this is it for us.
Hmm.
And then everybody said, Dad, are you crazy? This is never going to be it for us. You know what I mean?
It
And
just, yeah,
look what that was like 10 years ago, maybe longer.
yeah.
And look at look what's happened now. Now
Hmm.
you move from the Curry Club. You guys, if anyone doesn't realize, the Curry Club at SaGhar is now at one of the most historic restaurants in our little village. It was a fish house for how many years? I took my
Yes.
kids there,
Yeah.
and now it's embracing fish house culture.
Yes.
It's embracing South Asian culture, and it's giving this little town something that it's never seen
Never
before.
seen before. The
Never
best
seen
part that
before.
I'm doing, I'm very excited about that, we are preserving the history of Port Jefferson, which is preserving the schooner history and
That's what it
merging it
was, the
with to
schooner,
the
right?
schooner, and kind of preserving all the art, all the pictures, everything that we have from schooner going into the Wadhwa family now.
Right.
And that's going to be so huge. And I'm the secretary of Kamswag Association of History, and I am trying to get as much information so I can put all the pictures on my wall, so when people come in, they don't just see an Indian restaurant. There's a history behind it, just like we preserve the train.
Yeah,
We
like
preserve the history.
exactly
1849, the diner, and then now we are
the dining car.
affiliated
That's
to
right.
the Meadow Club, the Bates House. That's ours too. So
Right.
we've got three major history connections. So I'm very excited that our name was with the history, and I want to keep it up for the next generation. That's what I'm
Wow.
excited about. Yeah.
That's awesome. So in this
Yeah.
busy life of yours, and do you have any time for free time? Do you watch TV? Do you watch movies?
So here's what I'm doing recently. To answer that question, yes, I'm very selective of what I watch. People say what you put in your mind is how you become. I'm
Yes.
very, very selective on what I see, what I hear, what I watch,
Right.
and whom I talk to. So I watch a lot of documentaries, and I'm actually writing a book and a history of our family that is going to be in. Hopefully, if somebody invests into it, then we can come up with a TV series of what normal families have gone through during the transition of this war that has been
Wow.
going on for 40 years, and who has survived and who has not, and how the impact it has made on the next 3 or 4 generations.
I think that story needs to be told. A lot of
I,
stories are told, but not one like that I haven't heard.
right?
That's really cool.
Because the impact is huge on the generation who was born and brought up here,
Uh-huh.
and the kids are stuck between the two generation, the orthodox generation of my parents mental mind thinking, I'm the medium, and the modern kids.
Right.
So there has to be a balance. Now, since we are out of the war, we are surviving, we're still not Tragedy's going to go on in life, but you just got to move forward. But how do we overcome and still be a tight family again?
What is your opinion on the advancement of like foreign cultures here in this country? Do you like where the things are going? Do you like the way young people are? Are they forgetting about it? Or are they not forgetting it? Are they embracing it?
Mm, my opinion is a little bit different. I am feeling pain and sad for the generation upcoming younger people because the things that we had is they have nowhere near close to being enjoying a simplest thing by
Right,
playing with the stone and
right.
going outside and playing with the technology, and the government has made life so tough for children, teenagers.
It's
they have
everybody.
they have nothing to do. They can't go anywhere. I feel like I wish there was something I could create. Like, for example, the Sports Plus used to be here before,
Yeah.
not anymore. Where can kids go now? No cafeteria. They, either they have coffee, which we don't encourage our children to have so much coffee.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
So, or they go out on the streets and then they get in trouble. So,
Yeah.
honestly, what is there for our children to do that keep them busy from the time that they are teenage till they become adulthood and get into college? What is there in our
Not much, but
community?
learning. I mean, and again, to you,
Hmm.
to a credit, not to sound like a crazy, a separate, to draw lines or anything,
Yeah.
but from what I see from South Asian children,
Hmm.
and they seem to be very intelligent people. They seem to work very hard in school. They seem to put a lot of time in
It's a
school.
lot of it, the parenting and the family culture, the
So the
moral that
grip is still
the
on it.
grip is still on, and we have to be on top of them. Like,
Yeah,
I have seen a lot of parents keep them so busy, so they don't even have time to think about anything else. Go put them in sports, extra curriculum,
that's
Kumon,
what I
stuff
did.
like
That's what
that.
you have to do, I
We have to
think.
do. Can't let them go out, otherwise it's not
Can't
really
buy the
safe.
video games until they're ready for it, right? 12th grade, my sons got their first video game.
Wow, you're
And
good.
they don't like they do.
Yeah.
I saw the difficulties. Like there was sometimes they couldn't get along with a kid or another group of kids because they didn't know how to play the video game. They
Mm.
didn't have that they didn't know. They
Yeah.
weren't good at it. You know what I mean? And then when they tried, they felt like they felt failure. They couldn't do it.
Well, the new generation, as soon as they're two, the parents are handing out phones to them. Now, what do you do with that?
Wild. No, you
They're
can't.
already out
You're not
there with
allowed
social
to.
media.
Yeah, no, I didn't give them a phone. They didn't have a phone until they graduated high school. You can't do
I
it.
see that. I'm like, oh boy, where is this country gonna go
You
now?
you like social media? You use it or at
So
all?
yes, I'm using it for business quite a bit.
Right.
So since I have taken over the business in 2013, my sister and I are a lot more involved. So we are constantly trying our best to promote both the businesses ourselves. Yeah.
Nightlife over there at SaGhar? They have their live music upstairs and stuff still?
No nightlife at all. Since we took over, we are high end, very elegant
Strictly
Indian,
restaurant.
very strictly restaurant. I definitely want to promote very nice live music for dine in. I want to bring the Bollywood brunches back
I
because that's
love it.
very popular in the city, and
I
people
love it.
love to just enjoy, dance, and listen to authentic music. And our culture is all about food and dancing, and
Very happy.
very happy.
Very happy, yeah.
No matter what it is, they just want to dance.
We'll get the drums in there. I
That's
got a
it.
couple of guys at Crest Hollow
Oh,
sometimes.
you
I'll send them
do?
your way, all
Please
right?
do.
I'll
Would
send 'em
love
your
to
way.
bring that in Port Jeff and teach them how to live. Just start living.
Because you have all that open air, that whole top
Exactly.
space
Yeah.
is incredible.
Opens up.
Belly
the
dancers
rooftop
and
one.
whatnot, maybe?
Would love to.
Yeah.
Would love to bring them over.
I
Yeah.
promise I won't take my belly out, all right? Because not many people want to see that. They don't want to see that.
No, it's all good. Not
So
good.
what's up?
Yeah.
So when you, all right, here's a good one. When you go out to eat,
Hmm.
and it's like, let's not, not South Asian food. Where do you like to? What is your besides any kind of South Asian food? Do you have a go-to from our country that you
Absolutely.
guilty pleasure at all?
Oh, my guilty pleasures are huge. So my best thing that I enjoy is getting out of my treat, and I have a day off, escargots and champagne.
Woo!
I love
like
my
it.
French cuisine.
I love it.
That's my to-go wine and cheese. I can sit at the
Very
beach
rich. Yes.
and I enjoy my wine and cheese. Yeah,
Well, it's good. We got the beach right in our backyard.
exactly.
Yeah,
can
I love
just-
living in Three Village in that area.
Mhm.
It's been always really wonderful.
Yeah, it's my thing. So
Well, Indu, thank you so much for
You're
coming and
very
visiting us
welcome.
today at the Go Cry in the Walk-In podcast. Now, please
Thank you,
don't make
Chris.
anybody cry in the walk-in over there, because I think you might be able to.
Yes, I.
I saw those busboys; they were a little
Oh
nervous when
my
I
God.
was in there.
Oh yes, yes,
They're on
they
their
were.
toes over there.
They were. Yes,
And
which is
please,
good.
give my love to Chef Jimmy. He
With
was
Jim.
awesome the other day when we
He's
stepped in, and
amazing.
we're gonna splice in a little video that we made over there during the thing, and we're gonna
That's
give you
great.
that, Abe. All right, brother? And again, you're watching the Go Cry in the Walk-In podcast. I'm Chef Cholo, and you already know.